Hello everyone, Ren here, and today I am annoyed. Recently I have witnessed a lot of trash talk, is that the right word, or hating and degrading of young adult literature. And I know there'll be some people that wouldn't even call young adult books literature. And I really don't think that that's fair. I read quite a lot of young adult books. I think it's the most of something that I read. So I guess you could say that I was kind of biased because this video is in defense of young adult literature, young adult books and teen fiction. Because I think it's great, and I think that lots of people see it as lesser compared to other books, when actually I don't think that's the case at all. In the past couple of months or so, I've had people tell me that young adult books are simple and easy and a quick read, and they just kind of roll their eyes at it being anything more than just bridging the gap between children and adult fiction. I think a lot of the time it isn't considered something that's legitimate and an actual thing that can affect people and something that's been created. It's just kind of seen as something that authors spew out again and again and again, and it doesn't really have much meaning behind it. They also see them as something that only teens can read, and that's something that only fits teenagers, and that anybody younger and anybody older can't read them because it doesn't fit what they want to read, and the adults shouldn't be reading teen fiction. I've been told so many times that I need to move out of the young adult section because I'm now an adult and I need to be reading adult fiction, when actually I don't want to. There's some adult fiction books that are amazing, and some of my favourite books are adult fiction books that I think are great, but I think young adult books are just as good. Sometimes I read adult books and I feel like it's lacking things, and it lacks that thing that makes me so drawn into young adult books. It isn't just something that an author has churned out and thrown out into the world to make some easy money, and they're not always really easy things to read. There are young adult novels that are so in-depth and complicated, where the authors have created an entire massive world. Sandra Clare, for example, even J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter, even though that's considered a kid's book, Sarah J. Maas, Rainbow Rowell, Rick Riordan, Michelle Hodkin, Veronica Roth, Suzanne Collins, V.E. Schwab, Holly Black, James Dashner, Danielle Page, Rochelle Mead, Meg Cabot, Ransom Riggs, and there's so many more. They've created such in-depth and complicated characters, and characters that people can relate to, and characters that people can see themselves in. I have never ever read, I'm sure they're out there and I'm not saying that they're not, but I have never read an adult fiction book with LGBT characters. I've rarely read adult fiction where there's been diverse characters in them. There's new books coming out every week with diverse characters in, with LGBT characters in. These are characters that people can relate to. These are characters that are real, that actually exist, and characters that we can find a relation to. It annoys me when people think that they're just these small, easy books that people read that don't have this much depth and these characters and these stories within them. It really makes me angry when young adult fiction is seen as something less than what it is. Yeah, okay, generally young adult fiction are aimed at teenagers, but that doesn't mean that teenagers need something easy and simple to read, and it doesn't mean that that's why they read them either. So many of them are so complicated and so in-depth and built up with so many important themes and messages and characters, and that's why I read them, because there's something in them that I can relate to, and there's these incredible messages and values and wonderful stories that have had so much effort and time put into, and that have been created by these wonderful people that have spent years of their lives making these stories. It isn't that these people just churn out books and throw books out with no care or no love or no passion put into them, and they're not easy. They're not easy to write, and they're not always easy to read, and there's so much more to them than just teen fiction. It makes me really sad when I see it disregarded like this, when I see it be said that it's easy. And yes, okay, there are books in that section that are easier to read, but there are also books in adult fiction that's easier to read. There's also books in children's fiction, in science fiction, in historical fiction, in historical non-fiction, in non-fiction in general, that are easier to read than other ones. It doesn't mean that it makes them any less amazing, or the effort put into them was any less, or the stories are anything less, and the meaning is anything less. We all take something different from books. Every time we read a book, my experience to reading my favourite book is completely different to someone else's experiences of reading their book. That's just how it goes. We take different things from the books that we read because we're all different people. So many times I've had people that said, I never thought I'd read that book because, it's a kid's book, but it was actually really good. And I think, yeah, if you just completely disregard something without giving it a chance and say that it isn't going to be very good, or that it's too easy or too simple to read without giving it a shot, then you're just limiting yourself to so many things. I think young adult fiction is great, and I think that it's important, and while most people that do read young adult fiction are young adults and teenagers, and very young teenagers as well, I think that the messages in it are amazing. Lisa Williamson's The Art of Being Normal, Juno Dawson's This Book is Gay, in the Raven Cycle series, in the Mortal Instruments series, there are LGBT characters, there are diverse characters. The fact that they don't just focus on those things, but they focus on family issues and how children and people can experience these things growing up, and how they can experience these things from the people around them. And those books make us think, and they make this generation of people think about what our society is like and what our world is like, because it isn't that different from some of the books. It's not everyone. I know so many adults and so many older people that love reading it, and I'm not saying it's everyone, but it's something that I've seen a lot of recently, and seen young adult fiction be so disregarded, and it's not fair to the authors as well. Imagine writing something for 3 or 4 years and then being told it was just easy. I love young adult fiction. I think it's great. Some of the characters that I relate to the most are in young adult fiction, and some of the characters that have changed and shaped my life and really made me think about things and really made me happy, and some of the worlds that I love to revisit are from young adult fiction, and I don't think they're easy, and I don't think that they are just throwaway books that are just any less than anything else. I think that they deserve as much love and recognition as any other book that exists. And like I said, we all have different opinions. There are some teen YA books that I don't like, but there are some adult books I love. There are some kids books I love. There are some kids books I don't like. There are some adult books I don't like. It's how it works. But I do think that young adult can get just disregarded without giving it a go, and just being completely seen as something that is just, oh, it's just teen fiction. And I don't know, it's sad, because there's an incredible world of books out there and incredible stories to be told that just get forgotten about sometimes. Let me know your thoughts on this. I know a lot of you guys read young adult fiction, so I would really love to know your ideas about what people think about young adult fiction and how people stereotype it, because I do think it has got a stereotype. I do think that some people just kind of see it in that stereotype and see it as lesser than the other books. And do you know what I mean? Did that make sense, or was this video just me angry ranting? If you are new here, I make bookish videos a couple of times a week, so if you would like to stick around and subscribe, then you can do that. The button is down there. And as usual, all of my links will be in the description if you would like to come hang out with me on other social medias. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you're doing really well, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!